Hey fellas, Onus here, and welcome back to With a Y. And today I want to talk to you about the most recent art trend that's kind of been taken over Undertale Deltarune Twitter, because I've really been enjoying it because it's literally just torturing Sans with his past, round number 37. This artist over here, Creative, said, what if Undertale hard mode was released after Deltarune ended? And it kind of plays into that power fantasy of like, hey, what if all the things I knew in the real world I could say directly to the video game character? So Undertale hard mode comes out in 2031. And by then, we'd probably have solid evidence whether or not Undertale Sans originally comes from Deltarune, and enjoying this trend to its fullest comes with you buying into that idea, which personally I'm going to for the sake of this. You told Sans a joke about the past. Yeah, it's just a joke, guys. It's just a laugh. I thought you liked those Sans, Undertale. You told Sans about how you used to know a man similar to him. You told Sans the man would play silly jokes on you and your friend. You told him about the time it got really cold. You told Sans about how scared the man was, even if he didn't say. You told Sans about how the man had a kind brother. You told Sans about how the man ran away. You told him about when it got warm again, everyone wondered where the man went. You told Sans that eventually everyone stopped wondering. You told Sans how there was not a man there. What the hell do you want from me? What's the matter with you? And I just love Creative's interpretation of this as like Sans endlessly smiling, like he does technically keep the same mouth shape, but you know, you add a few sweat droplets, you make the creases of the smile strain at its cheeks, and suddenly you have a very, very emotionally affected skeleton on her hands. And people have been going hog wild with all the directions they've taken this shit in. Usually I curate these videos down to be like more consumable length, but we're just gonna go as long as I have post to show. Carlos Benjamin over here expanded on it. And thus the man was alone once more. You told Sans of a laughing and laughing woman. You told Sans of a dancing and dancing man. You told Sans that the man fell in love. And like the little detail where Sans's eye can turn yellow, but then adding the fucking image friend pink to the right of it. Nothing exactly like abstraction exists in Deltarune or Undertale, but I feel like this is the type of shit you put a guy through if you're really trying to get him there. And like imagine just pulling that up where it's like, yeah, I knew you used to date an alternate version of my mom. This isn't the first tutorial you're trying to run through, bro. I fucking see you. In fact, I see through you. Now, the most popular interpretation of this trend has been the shit we're saying actually getting to Sans. Like, the things that we're doing affect him emotionally on a level, but there are alternate ones that I do want to cue you into. Like, where it affects him, but you're in like a post-genocide route Judgment Hall scenario where like, yeah, he might lose his composure, but like, motherfucker just experienced a much more immediate tragedy like a second ago. Like, everybody he's ever known in this world dying. This one is from your local spoon. He's exhausted. He can't attack anymore. You hold your turn. You keep him listening. You ask him if he understands. You ask him if he even cares. You ask him if it was worth it. You ask him if the man you knew is still somehow in there. And look at this sad little skeleton, bro. Tired as hell from both the physical and emotional lashing you've just given him. And he's still got one more one-liner. You should stop looking. Stop searching for someone just as pathetic as you. Because he ain't here. He never was. Bars, bars! Now, there is an element of this that is just people making the expression Sans wears more and more strained. From Ice Luigi fan, a big part of that is just giving any skeleton character from Undertale or Deltarune an actual nose bone. Because yeah, skulls have those. Like, and it makes the whole thing look way more strained and a little too close to realistic. You told Sans that you're not the only one with sins crawling on your back. Ugh. I like Shibe's reading of this. I love the idea, so I wanted to doodle something for it. I feel depending on how recent his universe hop was, he'd have a different reaction to you saying this. You told Sans eventually everyone stopped wondering. Younger Sans would be like, get the hell away from me, stop talking, please. And in older Sans, you know, his eyes don't go all shadowed. He's still like staring you down, even if he's a little miffed by the shit you're saying. Nah, that's just low. Even from you. Consider that you guys are like both the same height, so you have roughly the same scale of what low is in this context. From your average artist, there certainly was an attempt here. You told Sans about a man who saw the sun after years of confinement. You told Sans that the man was soon stripped of that freedom and put right back to where he started. Well, what the hell do you think you're doing? There are a few ways you can interpret that, where it's like, if Sans is truly aware of resets directly, which in canon, he's probably not, but faded interpretations have him remembering everything to varying degrees, for the sake of whatever scenario you want to make him suffer through. But I really like the interpretation that the Deltarune world, the reason he can't get back to it is either because the cost is so high or a calamity happened that would make it a place not worth returning to. You know, most likely in this case, the Roaring. And imagine he goes from that, escaping to the underground in a place where he's like objectively more confined to, you know, the underground, only to just be met with another world-ending catastrophe. This one just much more personal, as it's like one fucking kid running up and down the game world world, murdering everybody it sees. Speaking of just like making Sans suffer, as far as like made up people go, aka fictional characters, there's a lot of like projection people do if they like really care for a character. They'll like put their own angst and suffering onto that and like put them in we'll say situations, trademark, because you want to know every aspect of them, how they'd fold under any type of pressure. And there's others that just like hate watch even their favorite little blorbos. From Fam Bram over here. Now look, I like Sans, trust me, but this image, seeing Sans, the always joking, smiling freak, be visibly nervous and uncomfortable, it's almost euphoric. But that's the thing, fanon interpretations and like fanfic or fan art, webcomics, whatever you might have you, that's just a bomb on the wound of fanon mysteries that we just haven't gotten the answers to unpack yet. And it's representative of a want that I think this comic from Ladies Man 217 really expresses. When I see comics in this style that are just like shitposty, but somehow manage to communicate a real emotional want directly from my sternum, I'm a big fan of them. Yeah, so when you see blue, think about blue stops the roaring. And you know, doing that classic saving money on how much the art in a comic costs by reusing the same panel for multiple times. But then boom, the last panel is by the Great Papyrus. That's just the type of shit you want to say to him, man. It's so fucking funny. I think this tweet from Blue By was the first person I had gotten that escaping one apocalypse just to go to the next, that stuck it in my brain. The concept of escaping the roaring for nothing. It puts a smile on my face, as this gif implies. Now, there's like a mix of people just doing new art. Like, there's some people making new dialogue for Sans being put in this scenario, where some people are just adapting existing dialogue, either creative, originally made, or that they saw other people in the quote tweets come up with. And I like the multiple interpretations we've been getting of that. One that I was happy to see explored, because the majority of what we're doing during this entire video is watching Sans suffer, was like when people tried to make it almost a pacifist version. I personally have not done a no mercy route in Undertale like ever. I don't think I've harmed a single monster outside of the fights where you absolutely have to in any of his games. Maybe in a fan game I'd killed some guys, I'm not sure, I'd have to look back. From Space Core 9, I really like this idea, but I thought I might try and do a pacifist take. You told Sans about the place where it rained, about the man similar to him. You told Sans about the time the man left in dire circumstances, that you knew the man couldn't go back, about the people the man shouldn't forget. You told Sans the man stayed strong. You told him that the man made new friends and still went on, that you and the man were good friends, that even though you should have said this to the man earlier, you didn't know then. You told Sans you knew that man was in front of you. You told him that despite everything, it was still him! That's what I'm fucking talking about! I don't know how you know that, kid, but thanks. Probably the same way that they've been like resetting time over and over again. I've had to guess mechanically, you know, just like fucking throwing that out there. I like this art from Astral Dragonaut. Almost said Dragonaut, dude, it's too much con. You tell Sans you've seen everything he could ever love crumble away. What the hell do you want from me? What's the matter with you? From Ari Ribimaka over here, we have some more new constipated Sans art. You told Sans you knew a man who used to love. He loved the birds singing. He loved the flowers blooming. He loved the sunlight. He loved the people around him. He used to love dancing with his darling at night. He used to love everything. He used to love. What the hell is wrong with you? Is this some kind of joke? Like, we're basically subjecting Sans to oral loss after oral loss, so I feel like I do need to throw him a bone at least a few times over the next few posts before we get back to like just shoving him in the torture nexus. But from Yukamari, this shit just had me cracking up because they did some like re-sprites of Sans poses. One was him kicking his feet behind him during the Undertale 10th anniversary stream, and then the other is him, you know, stressed as hell, but weirdly doing the beat it chick pose. Like, it feels almost fucking identical. I know he's pointing at me through the screen, but fucking Christ, dude, it's the only thing I can think of. Once more, we must look at the absurdity of it all, though, from Tem in a cowboy hat. You guys don't have any idea how funny this is for me to see. Like, the new art trend for this is literally just, Sans, I remember you're the man who came from the other world. That's you! That's you! I'm a time traveler! This might be the only time I've seen his base sprite just without a smile of any kind. Like, that makes me giggle. From J-Dog, can't stop but imagine Gaster breaking his code of not interfering directly to go talk to his chud son, brother, to tell him you done fucked up with no wingdings and kick him out to the Undertale verse. And that's a funny concept in itself, where Sans wasn't like forced out by pure necessity or made the choice to leave Deltarune. Gaster just broke the code and he's like, bro, this is my Deltarune and you're really fucking harshing the vibes. You're out of here. Get cast to oblivion, get fucked! That in mind, there were a lot of people saying that the hard mode original interpretation implies that Deltarune was a place Saiyans chose to leave. And I'm in agreement with a lot of folk who say, like, this is the best interpretation of a Saiyans who left Deltarune's world willingly that I've seen. Like, there might not have been, like, some huge inciting incident where it was made a thing he just couldn't go back to and, like, he absolutely had to get the hell out of Dodge for. But my god, is that probably of little comfort to Saiyans when he realized that his demons didn't get left in the past entirely. Now, we must restore some aura from Silverfan 101. I feel like people give Saiyans way too much credit when it comes to being nonchalant. Like, yes, he is great at it, don't get me wrong, but it gets to a point. Like, yeah, no Saiyans is no timeline is going to, I don't give a fuck his way out of this one. Literally earth-shattering knowledge of Saiyan's dark past that only a higher dimensional anomaly could ever carry. Lol, I don't care. As funny as this message is, like, I do think it's more of a situation where he wouldn't be unaffected, but like a bunch of worse shit, arguably. Obviously, that's hypothetical because we don't know how Deltarune ends and for what reason Saiyans might jump ship to Undertale. But like in the context of Undertale, on the genocide route, it's something of equal trauma just happened to him. Like, he may not be the paragon of id-gaffing, but he's certainly like top 20 at least. And I think my favorite version of how that reaction might go is this comic by Barry Boo, who I think just kind of hits the writing on the head with this. I enjoy this concept, but I feel like it wouldn't actually move him that much, so I did my own take on it. You laid out what you had been told. You told Saiyans about the story of the man who came from the other world, the world where it rained. You tell Saiyans about the people that the man left behind. Ellipses! You tell Saiyans about, and then he just cuts you the fuck off, and he's like, beat it, Michael Jackson. I don't know who told you all of that, if that's even how you know anyway. That was so long ago, and I'm not saying I don't think about it anymore, no. See, I just care more about the fact that you are telling me about it, that upon knowing, you felt the need to tell me. And what that says about you, weirdly vessel-looking silhouette over here, it doesn't matter how long it was between when you found out and now, but the fact that the only thing in your mind was doing this to see how I'd react just makes it so clear that between then and now, you haven't changed at all. Yes, Sans Undertale, clock my shit, I'm a fraud! And like, it really comes back to that interpretation of you love a character so much that in the face of having limited content around them, you turn to fanon or like imagining them in scenarios and different types of pressure where you want to know every single angle about them. You've seen Sans get something of a happy ending. You've seen him push to his limits in the genocide route. But the concept of this is a new way to push his buttons and fuck with him. And to imagine, what might a guy like that do when he's faced with his past he had thought he escaped? Sans, as a community, we do this because we love you. We want to see you suffer because we're curious about what makes you tick. We want to know everything about you. And I think that brings me to maybe my favorite, maybe not interpretation, but kind of offshoot of this sort of thing. Kacher, Mustard Waffle over here, has a series covering this sort of thing called The Red God, where it's an echo flower made out of the representation of the human soul from the stem of the damn thing to all its petals as it towers over Sans. We told Sans how much fun his battle was. He doesn't look very proud. Like, it's so fucking good, dude. The multiple hearts showing up as a representation of not just an individual player controlling a soul, but as like the community as a collective. And some of y'all, like over a decade ago at this point, having first experienced Undertale, having it change your life probably in some sort of way, and being obsessed with it up to this point, that you're thinking about how a character you met all that time ago would react to you saying shit you're only just finding out about him in that first scenario you met him. And Kacher like expands on this interpretation in a few more posts. The Red God grows bored, another world must fall. And it's the idea that Gaster is creating a world like Deltarune, not because like he wants to see the ending change, but because us, the collective as a community, needs something next to happen. We aren't satisfied sitting on our haunches and like having the really good and introspective time we did with our first playthrough of these games. It's like, chop, 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 make a new fucking game, Gaster! Not unlike how we treat Toby Fox as somebody who should be on Game Maker at all hours of the day with no time for a work-life balance. Like, all the pieces it takes to make a Dark World are something we're just tapping our fingers on as we wait for the man who speaks in hands to just fucking finish up his bullshit and give us our next chapter. And there's a few more posts from Kacher after this next one that I felt struck a chord with me, but this video on its own is so fucking good, and it summarizes like all the points I've been making to y'all in my rambly, kinda less coherent sense in like 30 seconds. Watch this shit. There's so many little details. The multiple hearts, the hands forming another heart at the stem's base. We love your stories, Mystery Man. we also love to break them. Literally, us as individuals, when we finish the game, tearing the thing to pieces, like literally digging into the code, looking for new information to get insights on, digging through all the little pieces of dialogue in the game and theory crafting, getting like more crack cocaine coated with time as it goes. All the hearts beating as one can't be wrong. We hold teardrops and music in either hand, the same hands that could form a heart. We enjoy finding your secrets, hearing your songs, the eggs and the music. Fucking and the Kara slash that makes Gaster smile with the cracks included, and it's our hands making it. It's so fucking good. We only wish that we could see your face, Mystery Man. Jesus Christ, dude, that shit, like, that shit is heavy, and it got really meta, but also literally me. Let's take this in a somewhat more shitpost direction, Rook. We need to air out a little bit, get back down to the brass tacks. I'm about to prank the shit out of Sans. Oh, Sans the Skeleton, remember that photo album you had that has a picture of 3 people on it with you writing "Don't Forget" under it? Yeah, I'm gonna fucking take that shit. It's mine. Maybe you'll remember them in concept, but slowly over time you'll forget their faces. Get pranked, loser. Another side quest I saw was like people applying the same idea to other characters. Like you had Cooler over here said, let's do hard mode Azrael, why the fuck not? You tell him it's the end. No, it isn't. I just know this. I'm right there, it can't be. And then Azrael fades away, like in Kara's arms, that sort of shit. L, get fucked, god of hyper death. Those are like most of the big notes I wanted to hit, but there are a few more posts I want to highlight as being standouts to me because they make me giggle. Another one from Kacher, funny enough, before they had done the Red God video I was showing you, where Frisk, under our guidance or otherwise, you can decide that based on your interpretation of events, they stick their hand on Sans' skull and don't just beam his past that we know about into his brain, but just what we've been getting up to in the absence of new content. Fucking insane boss fights, piles of Azrael's dust, Gaster being green! And that's the first time we ever, like, see his pupil, bro. This is the closest we've ever been to knocking a smile off his face. We gotta throw another positive one in there just cuz. From Pixel Perfect, more than one barrier was broken that day. You tell Sans that despite everything, it's still him. If he can sweat, he can cry. Like, just like barely holding on, like the pacifist rat shit, man, you gotta love it. People have already done the meta dissection of what this art trend might send the community to, arrow-wise. People are starting to become defensive about Sans again. No, we had like 5 seconds of freedom, but now it's back into the nope, Sans can't be emotional outwardly ever, no matter what happens phase. As a character who's been the subject of mischaracterization in so many different ways multiple times, like some people giving him way too much aura based off that final fight, or as someone who's completely stoic, or as someone who's a complete goofball, when those are all just shades of Sans in his entirety. It is very fun to think about, like, just the wider Undertale Deltarune community fucking relapsing hard on bits we'd already done with him. Alright, 2 more one-liners that I really was amused by in their interpretation of how Sans might take things, where even if he's affected by it, he is gonna fucking push through. From trash, lol, Sans didn't think that was funny. A little word of advice. People hate crowd work. It's cheap. My TikTok algorithm disagrees, but it does feel like an in-character thing for him to say. I fuck with this interpretation, but I think my favorite wasn't in the form of a comic. It was just Bryce over here just popping out a real casual bar. I feel like realistically, he'd wink, then say some shit like, don't try to get under a skeleton's skin, Megalovania place. Bryce, don't give him that much energy. They'll fucking kill you. Anyways, if you couldn't tell, I've really been enjoying this over like the last few days or so. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @withAY. Thank you to Koei Tecmo for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out Nioh 3 at the first link in the description. Anyways, piss off.